A special surprise not in your program for the morning. We have an extra reading. And Jeanette and I kind of joked about using this as the children's story because it is from A Wind in the Door. If anyone is a Madeleine L'Engle fan, you may remember A Wrinkle in Time. And A Wind in the Door is the same characters and happens afterwards. It is a sequel. So it features, if you haven't read it, it features a teenage girl named Meg who has to save her brother, Charles Wallace, from a force in the universe that wants to X out creation. Meg is partnered with a cherubim, yes, a singular cherubim known as Prognoskis. She calls him Progo sometimes. And he tells her that her job is to be a namer. Well, then if I'm a namer, she says, what does that mean? What does a namer do? The wings drew together, the eyes closed singly and in groups until all were shut. Small puffs of mist-like smoke rose and swirled around him. When I was memorizing the names of the stars, part of the purpose was to help them each be more particularly the particular star each one was supposed to be. That's basically a namer's job. Maybe you're supposed to make earthlings feel more human. What's that supposed to mean? She sat down on the rock beside him. She was somehow no longer afraid of his wildness, his size, his spurts of fire. He asked, "How do I make you feel?" She hesitated, not wanting to be rude, forgetting that the cherubim didn't need her outward words to know what was being said within. But she answered truthfully, confused. Several puffs of smoke went up. Well, we don't know each other very well yet. Who makes you the least confused? Calvin. There was no hesitation here. When I'm with Calvin, I don't mind being me. You mean he makes you more you, don't you? I guess you could put it that way. So Prognoskis and Meg discuss these beings known as ekthroi, who are unnamers or destroyers. Meg asks what these are. Prognoski says, I think your mythology would call them fallen angels. War and hate are their business, and one of their chief weapons is unnaming, making people not know who they are. If someone knows who he is, really knows, then he doesn't need to hate. That's why we still need namers, because there are places throughout the universe when everyone is really and truly named, then the ekthroi will be vanquished. Thinking of the school principal she's been fighting with, Meg says, if I hate Mr. Jenkins whenever I think of him, am I naming him? Prognoskis shifted his wings. You're Xing him, just like the ekthroi. Progo? Meg, when people don't know who they are open to either being X'd or named. And you think I'm supposed to name Mr. Jenkins? It was a ridiculous idea. But Prognoskis was most definite. Yes. But how do I do it? How do I name Mr. Jenkins when all I think of when I see him is how awful he is? There's a word, but if I say it, you'll just misunderstand. You have to say it. Love. That's what makes people know who they are. You're full of love, Meg, but you don't know how to stay within it when it's not easy. What do you mean? Oh, well, you love your family. That's easy. Sometimes when you feel awful about somebody, you get back into rightness by thinking about, well, you seem to be telling me you got back into love once by thinking about Charles Wallace. Yes, but this time it can't be easy. You have to go on to the next step. Progo, even for Charles Wallace, how can I do the impossible? How can I love Mr. Jenkins? Prognoskis did not respond. There was no flame, no smoke, only a withdrawing of eyes behind wings. Progo, help me. How can I feel love for Mr. Jenkins? Immediately he opened a large number of eyes very wide. What a strange idea. Love isn't feeling. If it were, I wouldn't be able to love. Cherubim don't have feelings. Love isn't how you feel, it's what you do. I've never had a feeling in my life. Meg closed her eyes, and suddenly she did not feel. She had been pushed into a dimension beyond feeling. There was nothing but a cold awareness. Her voice issued from her lips almost without volition, calm, emotionless. Bad as Mr. Jenkins is, she said, he's the only one who's human enough to make as many mistakes as he does. Suddenly she gave a startled laugh, and I do love you for it.